Hey everybody, welcome to Hope for the Soul. You have all three of us today.
All three of us. First time in 5 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while. Welcome back.
Hi, Mom.
And next week it's just going to be us two.
Yeah.
No, just play it.
Okay, so we are entering into the Easter season. So I thought let's get a little Easter theme on my joke.
Let's do that.
So a man, his wife, and his very cranky mother-in-law
Uh-oh.
went to the Holy Land for vacation. And unfortunately, while they were there, the mother-in-law passed away. Very sad. So the undertaker told the husband, he said, hey, you'll pay $5,000 to ship her home, or for an amazing cost of $150, she can be buried right here in the Holy Land. Like, what's better than that, right? So the husband thinks about it for a few minutes, and he said, I need to ship her home. The undertaker's like, for $150, she can be buried not far from Jesus' place. And the man said, I know, it sounds like a great deal, but I need to ship her home. And he said, okay, but you got to at least tell me why. He said, well, over 2,000 years ago, there was a man that was buried here. 3 days later, he rose again. I can't take my chances.
That's so good.
I got to make sure she's in the ground.
You think they needed marriage counseling?
Maybe.
Just maybe.
Just a little bit.
So Dad is here in the
Hey, Papa.
pod with us. We don't have a camera on him, but Papa's here today,
He's our audience.
and he's overseeing us. But when I heard that story, I can remember back 35, 40 years ago
He told it.
that your Papa
Oh, yeah.
and our Papa
Uh-huh.
probably told that same
Yep.
story.
Same story. Papa, did you ever hear the joke about Bubba at the Vatican from Brother Hicks? It's too long to share right now. But
No, we've got time. We've got time. Go ahead.
No,
It's
that
too
is
long.
way too
it's like
Okay.
a 5-minute joke.
Okay.
It's a lot of-
Maybe
after that, it'd be time to go.
Why don't we start next week out with that joke and dedicate it to Papa?
Heck,
Yes.
Dedicate it to him.
Yeah,
Heck.
there we go.
I think you've shared that here before.
I think I have.
It's too good. Share it again. It's just one of those jokes.
Oh, we just go back and get the clip and just
That's
put
right.
it in here.
Just lay
It's
it over.
that joke is a journey.
Yeah, it's definitely, you're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
So, an Easter joke, well, sort of a resurrection-ish joke. And we're not leading into the Easter season. We are in the
We are
Easter
in it.
season.
Yeah,
This
really
Sunday
we
is
are.
Palm
Palm
Sunday.
Sunday.
And it's
Look, I think I might have an Easter sermon out of that joke.
Share it with us on Sunday.
Don't take a chance on Easter.
Uh-huh. And then
No.
report back to us next week.
Okay. let's
How
see-
it went.
let's see how it goes.
so
Yeah.
we got to preach it this Sunday, and
Uh-huh.
then we'll follow up. So we'll get Bubba's joke,
Yeah.
and then Dad, you'll have to give us the report of how your sermon went. Oh,
There
my
we go.
goodness. Yeah, so we've got a lot of cool things happening right now. A big spring fling this weekend.
It's our first time to do it like this.
Yeah, so we're having our Easter egg hunt and all of that a week out instead of on Easter weekend.
Yeah.
Or on Easter Sunday after service having Easter egg hunt and all that, and moms get mad because their kids' clothes get dirty.
Well, explain that to me, because I didn't realize until yesterday that
Oh,
that
goodness.
we were doing this a week early. I just been hearing it and assuming it was the day before.
So last year, pretty much we take our chances each year of
With
if
weather.
with the weather, if it's going to rain or if it's going to be too cold. And last year, I think it rained like really hard on Friday, or maybe it was early Saturday morning. And so that for Sunday, Easter Sunday, the ground was really, really
Right.
wet.
And we had the mamas, and more
Yeah.
importantly, we had the grandmamas texting.
Everybody was tiptoeing around the mud.
Yeah, so we're having a spring fling this weekend. It's going to be beautiful weather, but even if it wasn't, that would give us the opportunity to still have an egg hunt, worst case scenario, on
Yeah.
Easter Sunday the
Yeah.
next week.
You remember the year that we had to bring the Easter egg hunt into the church because it rained so
I
bad.
do remember that. That's when we had it a Saturday morning.
We brought
before.
Easter eggs into the sanctuary. It was something.
Yeah. Well, we have the Easter Bunny is going to be here for the
Easter
spring
Bunny
fling.
is going to be
Really?
here.
The Easter Bunny.
The Easter Bunny is
Oh,
going to
really?
be here. We heard from him this morning that he is coming.
Oh, I'm excited about it.
Not the fake Easter Bunny.
Nope.
We tried to get the fake Easter Bunny.
He replied with, "Here comes Peter
He-
Cottontail."
When we texted and asked him if he was available, his reply was, "I'm available. Here comes Peter Cottontail." And I knew.
It was
We
a-
have the guy.
I knew that
it was right.
this is the right thing.
Now, are we buying chickens this year?
Kayla
One-
wants to buy chicks for
One
the
of the
kids.
best things a church, a young pastor and his wife could do on that day is to buy about 2 dozen little chickens. They're pretty cheap that week.
They are.
And just gift them to specific families that are going to have their little children. Like I think the ones that have 2 and 3 year olds, 4-year-olds. You send the chicken home with them, and you don't even have to have parental consent for this. You just buy the chicken and send it home, put it in a little paper bag with some of that hen scratch. There are some great experiences from that.
The
I
thing
don't,
is,
I
go
don't
ahead,
think
go ahead.
I'm that brave enough.
We're gifted enough things that we have to smile and say thank you about. That if I start doing that now to the
Yes.
church, that will only come back on me
Yep.
tenfold.
Yep, absolutely.
So the golden rule and the law of the harvest is going to be in effect here, and so we're not going to do that.
So
Kayla really wants to do it, but I put my
well,
foot down.
I'm gonna check with my source tonight and if she can.
We have to have a backup plan. If nobody wants the chickens, we got to have somebody that'll take them.
So here's the deal. You don't need to, this is Easter. You don't need to worry about being a Christian.
Our sins are. Don't worry about
That's wretched, and the fact that you laugh that hard, that's hilarious.
We are making up for lost time here today.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay.
So, with it being Easter, obviously, this is a big opportunity for the church to grow. This is a big opportunity, not just for the local church to grow, but for people to be saved.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people that don't normally come to church are coming to church. And so that's a part of the reason why we're having a spring fling a week ahead instead of a Easter egg hunt. That way we can have friends and family here, and that gives us a week to work on inviting them. So not just is that friends and family inviting other friends and family that don't come to Conroe Church, but all of our guests who are here, you have to register to walk on the grounds. You go into our database, you're on our email, you're on our text message list, and then the week leading up to Easter, you're getting official invites from our church accounts as well as friends and family. So this is kind of a strategic point too to help with our Easter service. But I was telling the church this past Sunday, because in lieu of Monday night prayer this week, we had an Easter egg stuffing party. And I told the church, I said, now this at face value doesn't seem as spiritual as a prayer meeting, but it is, because every egg that goes home with a kid represents a soul that we can reach. And so
It's seed.
it's seed time and harvest.
Now, Easter eggs, are those seeds for Easter bunnies?
Well, I don't know. That's a whole nother subject.
Okay. Let's get back
That's
on
a whole nother topic that I'm not willing to tackle.
let's get back on track.
Oh,
That's a
Lord.
whole nother rabbit
That's
hole.
a whole nother level. So I'm trying to be spiritual and evangelistic, and you guys are just not feeling it, man. So
Sorry, we're following a different cloud.
we have storm clouds and we have glory clouds.
We have 2 clouds
all
over
at
there
the
right
same
now.
time, and we got to get
They're
unified.
just hovering.
I preached about unity this past week, and here we are, knowing the direction we're supposed to be going.
But we're trying
We
to
are
get
not
together.
unified.
We're working together on it anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about what's been happening in our church, and this is just another opportunity for us to capitalize on the feeling that most non-church goers have. The non-church goers are thinking about, hey, are we going to go to church this Easter? Some will, some won't. But we want to capitalize on those that say, hey, let's go to church somewhere this Easter. And so if we can get them in our doors, we can get them on our grounds for a spring fling, we can get them back for a Sunday service.
So you're saying this event that you're doing Saturday is about the mission.
It's missional. It's not, yes, it's social by nature, but the root of it is missional. This is I think we've heard the saying before, and I love it. I wish I could take credit for it. We don't want crowds without converts. We're trying to gather a crowd so that we can get new converts. Okay. And that's kind of, this isn't just like a, hey, y'all, let's come. Let's bring the church family together. This is, let's bring the church family together on mission, and let's serve those in our community who are going to be here.
Yeah.
And so the Great Commission is go and teach and preach and baptize people in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, as we know is Jesus. And Jesus said in Luke, go and compel them to come. And so we go and compel people, and we believe that through our compelling lifestyle, our compelling nature, that we can build relationship with people that point people to Calvary at Easter time. And then the work of the cross can be made manifest in their life.
Well, I think when you talk about mission, and you mention Matthew 28:19, go. It says, go ye therefore.
Mm-hmm.
You just quoted it. Teach and baptize.
Yeah. Make disciples.
You have three factors there. You've got creating disciples. You've got a conversion experience. And then you've got the go experience. And before you can disciple, before you can convert, you got to have some go in your mission. And I think that's the reason that we use that. We call that commission, the Great Commission, because this is we're in business with God. Mm-hmm. And it's a missional thing. And so when it's a co-mission, in other words, that we are in this with God. So it's co, and then mission, it's commissional. And so when you realize that when we get a go, when somebody gets a go, or what you're doing this week is a go in the commission, and that is you're putting feet, legs, hands,
Mm-hmm.
and kindness,
Yeah.
trying to fulfill the mission. So you're putting a go in the mission.
Revival, church growth, kingdom growth is spelled W-O-R-K, work. And that's what going is. That's putting faith without works is dead. This is more than faith. This is more than saying, hey, I believe that the Lord's going to add to the church. We believe that names are going to be added to the Lamb's Book of Life. It's more than saying we want people to come to Conroe Church and we want to fill the house up. Yeah, we do. Mm-hmm. But the why really is more important than how or what.
Yeah.
The why is because we want people to be saved and their destinies changed and their families restored and healing in their body.
So if you're going to have a go or you're going to have a mission, you're suggesting there's just got to be an understanding of the why.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In Matthew 28:19, we know what the why is. We're going to go, but we're going to teach, we're going to convert, we're going to disciple, make disciples. The NIV says. So that's what you're looking at is having a big go.
Yeah, and so this is to go back to what Jesus said in Luke. He said, "Compel them to come." I think we have to live a compelling lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times in our we have good intentions and we have good desires, but we can be overly aggressive and not be compelling. You can be compelling and aggressive, but you can also be aggressive and not compelling.
So what you're saying is you're trying to create a culture or a sense in the moment where that people would want to be around you. People would want to follow.
That's
Who
exactly.
wouldn't want to?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What you're hoping is you will hear somebody say, "We need what we feel. We need what we see."
Yeah.
There's something in my family member that's different than what we have in our family. It's not DNA.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they have a nicer car and a nicer house. It's not that their kids are better. There's something different deep inside of them. And I wonder if our family could get what they have. And maybe it's the fact that they go to that church.
It might be. I think also that along with that mission, there's a purpose. And if we invite a lot of people here onto campus and they show up and they come back on Easter, and we can consider that successful. But I like what you said in the past, where that we can have large numbers, but no converts.
Yeah.
I wonder what we would do why, on Easter, it's kind of a thing. That's the peak attendance Sundays. All the churches, that's kind of when they count, and that's when they report, and that's when they have their best number. I wonder if you took all of the converted and saved people out of that mix, out of that count, and then all of the not just in your local church who might have membership, but those who might have membership elsewhere. Take all of those out of your Easter count and only count prospective converts.
That's good.
Yeah.
That would be real.
Yeah. So I think the success of a spring fling, the success of an Easter Sunday, the success of the spring fling won't be based off of how many people we have on the parking lot. To me, the success of spring fling is on Easter Sunday,
Who came back?
the return.
Yeah.
And then the success of Easter Sunday is the Sunday after and the Sunday after
Yeah.
of who returned from that.
Yeah.
And then that's not the end goal. That's not the true success. The success is the conversion point.
So what you're saying is this week we want to do what we can to be attractional. We want them to come back next Sunday and over the next several weeks, in hopes that over the next few days they would return and have an experience with Jesus.
And let's not forget that Pentecost is coming.
Well, that's where I was going, because we can really put a great emphasis on Easter, and we talk a lot about the power of Easter and the miraculous of Easter and the wonder of Easter, but not very many days following an Easter experience is a Pentecostal experience.
Was it 50 days after Passover? I think is what the number is off the top of my head.
Pentecost means 50.
Yeah. So after the Passover, 50 days, Pentecost Sunday.
Basically 7 weeks.
It's harvest time. It's harvest time. We are seeing it.
Absolutely.
And this is why I preached this past Sunday about unity, not because there's a lack of unity, but that when exponential growth took place in the book of Acts, it's because they were unified. When correction had to come, when the epistles were written, they needed to be written. But let's face it, they needed to be written because in the nature of humanity, there will be divisiveness. There will be issues that come that try to separate, whether that's humanity, whether that's sinful nature, whether that's spirits of wickedness that work through us and we aren't even aware of that. We have to be a unified people. And I'm thankful for the unity that we feel, but our unity must be for a purpose, not so that we can come together and say we feel good, not so we can have everybody all hands on deck at a spring fling, or if you call Conroe Church home, you need to be here Easter Sunday. No, that's not unity. That's conformity.
Yeah.
Unity says I've got other options. I've got a busy schedule. And I might not even want to come to a spring fling. But the purpose of the spring fling is not me. The purpose of the spring fling is them and what God can do in them. And so unity is a powerful, powerful force. It's what turned 120 to 5,000.
So evangelism looks very different today than it might have 50 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I can remember street meetings. I can remember a lot of things that we did and efforts to, spread the gospel. And in
Door
their
hangers. You could do that.
Door hangers. Were you here during our door?
No, she wasn't.
I was.
Oh yeah, that
I did
would have been
a
like the
few
tall
of
timber
them.
days and all that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Blessed days. Yeah.
And we would do 1,000 door hangers in a weekend, or go to Walmart and hit every car.
Nowadays, if you do that, the HOA is going to catch you and make you go back and pick them all up, and if
Yep.
not, they're going to find you and call the cops.
Yeah.
And so,
Or
It's a different
just
day.
people is not going to answer their door.
yeah, you might get shot. Let's just be real. And that's not in a bad neighborhood. That might be
Yeah.
in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
My street, there's law enforcement. There's all these shit. The joke on our street is we've got the guns and preacher, you got the God. So this is going to be a safe street one way or the other. But yeah, I mean, so let's talk about evangelism methods. We used to, everybody load up on Saturday morning. Let's get on the church van and let's get a caravan and let's go down
Yeah.
to Walmart's.
I was just talking to somebody in the church just Monday night actually, and she said I've been really convicted about winning people of late. And she said, but that's not my personality. My personality is I don't want to talk to anybody I don't know. And she said, so how do we do that to where we don't seem weird? How do you just bring up church or God? And I told her, I said, what I do, I like talking and meeting new people. And I said, I try to find a way, if I feel like the conversation is, this could go somewhere, I incorporate into my conversation of, hey, do you go to church? Or do you have a home church? I said, that's how I started. I said, but before that, I pray that God put people on my pathway that somehow we can get that connection.
Or they open the door for you.
Yes. Yes.
So we hear these stories where someone in some other country, they got on a train.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there and they're thinking about jumping off the train because life is bad. And they look in the little thing right in front of them on the back of the seat, and there's a tract.
Yeah. And
they read that tract, and they came to Jesus. Or you hear the story of harvest time that they told so many times and years and years ago about somebody who turned it on and heard Brother Urshan preaching and Sister Urshan singing, and they made we have one of our prominent pastors did this. He heard that, he made the phone call and came to truth. And so we hear those stories, but if God directed those things in that time, our method is a bit different now.
Yeah.
But if God could cause some pastor or some preacher to want to pass out tracts and put it in the hand of somebody who was getting on that train, and they decided they didn't want that tract.
Yeah.
So they put that in there, knowing that these people were coming from a different place. They were going to get on the same train the next day when it turned around and came back, and they were going to randomly find this. If God ordains those things, why can't he ordain an ad that you may, or a reel that you may highlight, and it could drop into their phone, and they won't answer their door to you, and they're not going to really talk to you, but they, like all of us, have these things that are they're not surgically attached, but we all have an emotional dependency on our devices. So you can go right to where their emotional dependency is. It drops in, it's right in front of their face. God can use that.
Yeah, and I think if we're honest, I think in years past, the door hanger days, the going and passing out 1,000 flyers on cars at Walmart and Home Depot, and let's be real, the majority of those tracts put under windshield wipers were placed on the parking lot, and we cost those businesses more money in maintenance.
Yes, we did.
We messed up. Now, our intentions were good, and that wasn't our intentions, and I think God honored our effort and our intentions, and I think people came to God, some that were witnessed to, but I think more than anything, God just honored that and sent other people who were hungry. But now I think with the digital revolution that's taken place the last 15 or 20 years, I think you're right. We have a marketing budget set for Easter. We've spent, I don't know how much we spent now, I can look, but we've spent a good bit of money on social media ads. But more than that, that's going to work and that's going to be effective. And everybody that comes here almost on a weekly basis, when they fill out a Connect card, how did you find us? Google or social media.
Yep.
Now, I love that and I celebrate that, but I told the church this a few months ago, we have much work to do because that is not personal evangelism.
Yeah.
That is a tool. I'm thankful that we have social media. We have Alex here on staff, and that's her main responsibility, and I'm grateful for that, and we need that. But that can never take the place of us compelling people to come. When you live a life that's so compelling to others that your relationship draws them to church, not your invitation to church.
Yes.
That is a level of ministry. You talked about fivefold ministry, equipping the saints to do the work of the ministry. I think I'm going to steal your line. The sixthfold ministry is the saints.
That's not mine. I got that from somebody a few days ago.
Well,
it sounded so good that I just thought I would presume to own it.
God gave it to you, so I could say it on the pod today. So that was good, Dad. But yeah, I think that we have to live on mission, and we can't rely on these tools that the nonprofit has, and can't rely on Google AdSense and Facebook, or I guess it's Meta ads now.
It's also,
it's
remember,
gotta be personal.
Church growth is not the mission.
That's right.
Because through slick marketing skills, or through even reaching out and being overly friendly to the church, you can build a crowd.
Oh.
Yeah.
But if your church is doubled if Conroe Church doubles in the next 12 months, but we don't have a significant number of baptisms and altar experiences that equals the rate of growth, the kingdom hasn't grown.
Right.
Brother Huntley says it's so good. Church growth, not all church growth is church growth. Sometimes you have a swollen church. And we love people, and we have people that come to Conroe Church from other churches. That's just a fact of it, especially here in an area like Houston where there's hundreds of churches. And we're not going to be able to completely do away with that because people are people. But we can focus on the fact that we love who Jesus loves, and we love the lost.
Yeah.
And we're not afraid to sit with sinners. We're not afraid of our reputation being smeared because we're friends with sinners.
Yeah.
You know, I was at a funeral yesterday, and a friend of mine, pastor, walked up to me, and he said, "Hey, you still hanging out with all those politicians?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying to." And he was meaning it as a joke, but then we got to talking, and he was like, "What you're doing is awesome." And I was like, "Well, thank you. It's not anything off force. It's just doors that have opened and relationships that God has brought forth." And if it's a politician, or if it's your neighbor, or if it's Aunt Nene or whoever it is.
I wasn't in the sanctuary Sunday, but you did a great job. And I kept hollering at the computer. Tell him he's doing good, computer. Talk to him. Say amen for me, computer. But when you told me that Brother Pookie was going to make Mannequin laps, boy, I've never met Brother Pookie. I've heard of him. He's a member that we don't get to see often. But Brother Pookie was about to make a lap on Sunday morning.
I'm trying to get new names instead of Uncle Bobby and Sister Susie, because I think we probably have a Bobby and a Susie now.
But Pookie, was he actually here?
I think I don't know if he's here, but I think his niece or nephew was probably
I'm going to talk to the production group and that little guy that runs around with that moving video camera,
roaming camera.
The roaming camera.
You want a clip of it?
I want him to chase Pookie down. I want him to catch Pookie in the movement.
We'll have a lower third, Brother Pookie.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, everybody, thanks for listening today. It's good for all of us to be back in one room and one accord.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening. We'll see you next week here on Hope for the Soul.
Bye-bye.